I have in mind. I think that's a really good word you use to triage the programming. So essentially, even with remote clients, this isn't an issue at all either. Uh, if they're on my program and they're making progress and then they've stalled out, I know the program is working or at least has worked. So I need to start with the obvious questions first, and that is like, hey, what's going on in life right now? I need to make sure there wasn't anything wild or drastic. Have you missed training sessions? Has there been a bunch of internal stressors, a bunch of internal load that's added up? Making sure that everything's fine there. If it's not fine, then obviously we'll dial back whatever we need to. We'll probably won't. I'll be like, hey, don't even worry about the weights. Just keep it easy. Get life straightened out. That's fine. Or it could be something less dramatic. They're like, hey, my schedule changed at work. This setup just isn't working for me. So then that's when I'll adjust the program in terms of its setup. Whether we're going from 4 days a week to 3 days a week, or maybe we're switching from Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday to like a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, something like that. Even subtle changes like that will affect how I program and implement exercises. So I'll start with life factors first. I'll knock out the obvious, and it might stop there if that's all we need to adjust. Right, the program was working before, and it stopped just to life factors changing. I'm just going to keep what was working, but just make it fit better into their schedule, right? And then make sure that they're back on progress, make sure that progress is happening again, and then we're good to go. If life factors aren't an issue, they're like, look, I've been religious on the program 4 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday. I've stalled out. I'm not making gains. There's no external life factors, no internal stressors. I was religious to your program. Then 100% without hesitation, it's time to adjust programming. And I think this is where a lot of coaches and a lot of individual clients that kind of train themselves get hung up. They're like, no, this program worked for me before. They're really invested in something that worked before. I don't want to give this up. I need to adjust something else. There's a common theme like, oh, I must have not eaten enough today or something like that. And, we make up these like minimalist excuses for why I've stalled out for the last couple weeks. It's like, no, like the programs run dry. You squeezed all the juice out of it, like move on. Like I have zero issues as a coach. I held no ego to any sort of program. And that's really one of my strong points, is because I don't subscribe to like a program. Like I don't have the Texas method. I don't have 5-3-1. I don't have these programs. I have my my blocks and my categories, and I make those categories extremely fluid, and they're all based off of recent training history. So my program is going to look like whatever it needs to based off of your most recent training history. So if you're a good client and you've done everything to the T, everything's you were compliant with everything and the program stalled, I'm not going to be like, oh, you didn't have enough protein. That's a bogus cop-out statement. Or hey, you messed something up here. Like, no, these minuscule remarks are cop-out statements. It's the program's run dry. It's time to adjust fire. Let's look at your training history, which was the old program. Hey, it looks like based off of this training history, you need more training volume. So the next block of training, we're going to have more training volume. Or hey, you've got a ton of volume behind you. Let's switch gears. Let's crank up the intensity. Or maybe altogether, hey, you've been on a strength block for 3 months straight. You've squeezed out the volume. You've squeezed out the intensity. We need to have a pivot block. Let's get you conditioning. Let's get you doing some novelty movements, things like that. Let's wash out your body and get you reset. Like I have zero issues with changing a program like that, pending that the obvious is adjusted for. And I'll always start with the obvious questions, because I don't want to adjust a program without knowing. If I adjust the program first thing, but then I didn't ask them about, hey, their work schedule changed, well, then the program's still not going to work. So I need to make sure, one, that I don't need to adjust its layout. And if I don't need to adjust its layout, then I'm going to change the formatting of the program.